Professor Gagan Gupta for your time, and we are honored to be here. I have my team sitting in the same room. I'm very much aware of the time that it is only 10 minutes, so without wasting much of the time, uh, we as a company, Sacral, which is an initiative by a larger organization called Cambridge Technology, which is in the industry for the past 25 years. We have seen the evolution of technology from 99, from our inception. We are very much aware that how the technology is being evolving from a traditional AI to Gen AI right now. While in the traditional AI, more of NLP, more of computer vision, robotic process automation, while the predictive and forecasting models are being predominantly working, which is acting like a left side of the brain for logical thinking, while the right side of the brain is still yet to get evolved at that point of time. And that is where the generative AI has come in as a savior. If you should say, last year when ChatGPT has released their first interface where the content can be generated, we realized this is going to go somewhere. So that is where we immediately jumped into the concept of an AI agentic system, and that's where our innovation lies in. We understand that an AI agent is defined pretty much by having the awareness of its environment, perception through input, action using tools, and have its cognitive abilities, which is backed by the foundation models and by short-term and long-term memories. So we understood if one AI agent can do so much, and how about collecting all the AI agents and bringing on to one platform, which creates an ecosystem of all such AI agents to perform specific tasks, and which will eventually help in streamlining the way workflows are done for enterprises. So that is more on what that we wanted to do. Coming to the problem statement, we understand there are very much ambiguous processes in an enterprise. There is variability in executing the workflows. And based on the availability of the technology, whether it is on premises or on cloud, there is a limitation on using the technology itself, which is resulting in the loss of revenue for the company, the employee disengagement and dissatisfaction for the employees to work in an enterprise. And eventually, the companies are losing their competitive advantage in the competition. So for that to happen, for that to diminish, and we wanted to move from a stochastic process to a deterministic process. So we wanted to create a platform which is sacral, an ecosystem of all the AI agents, whether it is autonomous AI agents, industry-specific agents, or tailored custom agents. All these agents will work in seamlessly integrating to the existing infrastructure, where it optimizes the workflow because of its capabilities of what it can do, and the ability to customize each and every agent based on the need of a particular workflow. You can actually see the workflow is being done seamlessly, and you can measure the results at the end of the process is done. So we are very much born in India. We are from the state of Telangana, Hyderabad-based startup, which is funded by Cambridge Technology, like I said. And as a Sacral, we are a company. We are hosting a platform that houses similar services of agents, which is built on agentic framework to perform a specific task. When I say the Swami, what you say in the name, a Swami is a collection of agents itself. Each and every Swami that represents, it has the ability to perform a particular task. Code Swami is used, works as a co-pilot, which is typically being there in the industry, in AWS and Microsoft and whatnot. But when it comes to the specialty of Sacral, is we don't want to be limiting ourselves to only software development lifecycle of it, but we wanted to step into cyber security. We wanted to be into information retrieval. We wanted to step into a customized AI agents where a buyer avatar and a seller avatar can be introduced in a trading platform, where the buyer avatar, by the buyer AI agent will understand what are the portfolios available and quickly make a decision out of it. At the same time, the seller Swami, who understands all the portfolios that are being presented in the CRM, will be carefully glance it through and create a portfolio for the targeted buyers themselves. So that is where, though you are present actively on the platform or not, your agents working as an assistant for you is doing the work in the back end to track the portfolios, etc. That is just like one example how custom AI agents are going to help. But if you see, the iSwami is for information Swami. DevOps, for DevOps, we have a separate stack of AI agents for testing, for drug discovery, for data extraction, for code maintenance, for user story creation, for logs, for log analysis, for cyber security solutions. So we have covered a very much all spectrum of areas where we wanted to impose the AI agents. So if you have a look at the architecture on which these agents are built, we don't want to be limiting ourselves to one particular foundation model, but as a company, we wanted to enable the best output when SQL is being deployed into one environment. So we will leverage each and every foundation model that is available in the market. We are working on the latest tech stack, and all these foundation models are governed by two separate sections, which is one is LLM operations, how to fine tune the LLM by low ranking assistance and quantitative low ranking assistance. And also we have the data operations supported by MongoDB and whatnot, where we have to create the vector databases, RAG frameworks, knowledge graphs. All these things will help us in creating agentic-centric frameworks supported by industry-specific LLMs, whether it is insurance or finance or pharma and whatnot. And based on this framework, we have created a set of insurance agents, set of financial agents, set of pharma agents, set of educational agents. So every agent will have its own expertise that come. Every agent will come with its own experience that is coming, which understands the industry, which understands the ontology, and very much aware of the environment where the agent is being deployed. So one example, like I said, so if you have a CRM and you have a transactional platform, how you wanted to impose AI is through this. So you have a seller agent and a buyer agent through a user interface, simple interface. We wanted to, as soon as someone receives, we wanted to decompose the task by using LLM and reasoning techniques. We wanted to extract all the possible tools that are available and perform the task of it. So a few use cases to talk about, and at the same time, if you see in the left side on the right of the screen, you can see this is not something of a prototype that we are doing, but we are already deployed it to some of our huge customers. Government of Ras Al Khaimah is something which is being consuming our solutions. Bajaj Allianz, IQEQ are some of a few clients which have saved at least 50% in their application development from BRD to code deployment, whereas in code maintenance, how quickly you can maintain the code based on the knowledge graph, how quickly you can receive information from a predefined databases, how much you can save in terms of all the logs that is going into the CM tools. The SQL cyber security agents will help in analyzing the solution quickly to save. A quick preview, it typically takes 30 to 40 minutes, but given the time, I'm going to show you a few screenshots, how the application looks, and how quickly the Word documents are being generated for business purposes, and how the code is being generated and pushed into your own code repositories such as GitHub and not. And the information retrieval, how one question on your existing data can give you quick graphical representation of responses using a RAG framework. So that is something all are being residing within the framework of SQL itself. In comparison with the market, we have been compared with many startups which are being targeting only specific areas of it. If you take the big heads like AWS or Microsoft, even they are providing some of those services, and we are leveraging those services. For example, AutoGen framework, we are leveraging for multi-agent, but not everything and anything that is available that what we are currently providing when it comes to specificity of what we are doing. But when it comes to impact of what we are doing, we are definitely not trying to replace the existing workforce, but we are only helping to augment the existing workforce and empowering them to do things more and better in terms of delivering things at the right way of doing things. We understand AI has to be ethical. That's why we have implemented guardrails. to remove the ethical and non-ethical questions to be answered how it has to be. So as a conclusion, I wanted to say that we are a AI platform who has an ecosystem of all the AI agents who will serve a specific purpose based on the use case, and whereas the AI agents can be customized and
We have to close your session now.
yeah.
Time
Okay.
is up.
I'm good.
Time is up.
I'm done. Thank you. Thanks for that.
We open for questions now. Jules, we open for questions, and would like to take it first. Professor Preslow,
So there, it's a good work. You are using, say, AutoGen. So what is your innovation in this? Because most of the features you're talking about, it's basically AutoGen features, which you can also do with other framework which are available. Very short and very brief.
We don't want to reinvent the wheel. We wanted to use the best of the possibilities that is already available in the market. When we write the first paper in last year, February, when ChatGPT was released, we wanted to take the best available output already there. So we wanted to use the AutoGen framework. We tested with Crew AI. We tested other frameworks as well. And where we wanted to have a multi-model, multi-vision kind of a system to deliver extreme computation that is required for the large amounts of data. We wanted to cater the use case rather than the back end of what technology to be used. If something was available, we are making sure we will enable the customer has the best experience.
Thank you. Thank you so much. Thank you.
Yeah, let me take a question. So it's not clear to me how are the agents orchestrated. Kind of who is controlling the agents? Is there a specific order in which they are interacting, or is it kind of organic that they're just like talking to each other?
It is a combination of both, you said, Preslav. So in the AI agentic framework, when, for example, if you take a simple RAG use case, you have a user proxy agent, which will orchestrate the communication from the user. But in the backend, you will have the respective AI agents working under him, who will be orchestrated. For example, if you ask a question, our question will be broken down into multiple questions. Each question will be taken by each of the writing AI agent to pull the right information from the database. One guy will write the response, another AI agent will review the response, and another guy will consolidate the responses and send it back to the user proxy agent. So that is where we are leveraging AutoGen framework for that.
Yeah, maybe I can take another question. So one problem with large language models is that they can hallucinate. And the result can be that you get results that are not reliable. So anything in your framework that can address potentially this issue?
In terms of reducing the hallucinations, we initially has faced this. We have overcome the effect of hallucination by breaking down the task into multiple subtasks, and that is where the multi-agent centric framework has been, very much being helpful. We are fine-tuning the model day in and day out. Every day we are working on, our ML engineers are working on fine-tuning the model just to come out of the hallucinating effect, not to be reduced over there. We have a data engineer, Apurva, so who is working, so she should be able to answer your question better.
So actually, as you mentioned, like the problem is with LLM models is hallucination. So in order to avoid that, so we are continuously working on domain specific data, like while like whenever our accuracy and hallucination, in order to avoid at the customer ends. So what we are doing is we are continuously monitoring the performance of models by fine-tuning it continuously using a domain-specific data, so in order to avoid the hallucinations which are provided by the LLMs.
So do you have mechanisms for planning, for replanning? Kind of you might decide that there's a certain way to achieve a solution, and there can be, as you start executing, you might realize that something is wrong. Or do you have agents whose job is actually to critique what is going on and saying, look, what you're saying is kind of not correct, or kind of I see some issue here in this reasoning. Do you have kind of those kinds of mechanisms to protect you from unexpected consequences?
Yeah, like as Uday explained about multi-agent framework. So inside a multi-agent framework, we have even the one agent which is there in order to evaluate the response generated by a response agent, like whatever is being answered, and the responses will be getting generated unless the end user get satisfied, something like that. These kind of feedback we are collecting out of each and every questions which are being queried from the customer end, and also we are working on fine tuning the same thing, so that will not drop out for the accuracy what customers are expecting.
So there is always a writer agent and reviewer agent. A combination of writer and reviewer always been successful in our activities as well. Even for cybersecurity solution, when there is a right threat or a passive wrong threat, so we always have to decide on what are the parameters that has to be confirmed, whether to define whether it's a threat or not. And sometimes the false threat becomes a real threat suddenly, and that becomes a learning for that particular AI. And for the future, it becomes a part of its learning as well.
Yeah, and also we'll be having threshold values. Beyond that, it will not drop out the accuracy, so that will make sure we'll be giving the best accuracy possible.
Uday and team, you might have a question from Dr. Gagan as well. Professor Preslav, if time permits, we would ask a follow-up question later. Thank you. Dr. Gagan, your question.
Yeah.
Sir, if you're able to turn on your video, that would be helpful.
Maybe in a second.
Oh,
But
sure.
my question first. So the question is, you talked about multi-model and multi-vision. So in the documentation, especially, there is a lot of importance on figures and explaining the user's requirements, or explaining the design of the system or system design via figures. So is your system capable of generating figures?
We do have capability to design, create images, not in terms of creative images, because there are so many other LLMs, but we want it to be enterprise helpful. So for graphs, yes, in terms of visualizing the existing data, how the graph has to be represented. If a question has been asked about how my business is going to be in next 5 years of time, if I do ABC, and the prediction model will be called in the backend, and it will give you the right response in a line format, which is associated with the time. So that level of images, yes, it is capable of creating it.
And also, like, we have something called Architect Swami, like within our product. So which will help in order to generate the solution kind of architecture for the entire workflow, what they are looking for. So these kind of architecture kind of diagrams also can be drawn by our model, whatever we are using.
So it takes initial input of what kind of a tech stack you're being using, whether if it is Java, Oracle, and JavaScript, and it takes the metadata of the respective tech stack. It creates a low-level document. Based on that low-level document, it creates architecture diagram, which typically takes a few days of time for a typical architect or a BA. Using SQL, you can create it, as you think.
And what would you consider as the current technical challenges for your startup that you need to overcome?
In terms of challenges, we see the solutions are being rapidly developed out there. While we are testing Crew AI, we got Autogen, and so on. So the rapidity in the upgradations of packages in Hugging Face is being growing enormously. While we are testing one model and fine tuning for one task, we got that is already being done. When ChatGPT 4.0 was released, we were so disappointed that all our ideas were already being rolled out by OpenAI because that's been funded big. So these were being the challenges, which we took, in the last few months of time.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you, sir.
We have a minute left. Professor Preslav,
So
do you have any
Uday,
question?
can you
Yeah.
walk us through which will help us any client's use case which you have deployed?
So MPX is Marco Polo Exchange, which is based in the US. They're trying to step into India to have
Okay.
a portfolio selling to esteemed clientele. where they have no idea where to invest a few lakhs or a few crores of rupees. The platform will have two modules. One is CRM, which has all the information about the portfolio, about the companies as well as the people who are willing to buy and sell. And there is a blockchain-backed transaction platform where the transaction take place once you buy or sell. So what we have done is we created two AI agents. One is a seller agent, one is a buyer agent, which will act as an assistant to each of the personas, where the buyer will have immediate look on what is the best portfolio that you can invest in. At the same time, seller will consolidate all the data based on the buyers. It will know which buyer to target and create the portfolio out of it. And it will track and keep on giving updates on where to go when it comes to buying or selling, and keep on setting the alerts as well. So that is something we are currently working on right now.
And how's the performance of these agents?
Sir, this is very much appreciative of the customer. They were able to save 70% of the time. Manually, compared to manually what they do, using our agents, they're being very much appreciative of the efficiency what they're getting, and the responsiveness is very much appreciated.
Okay. It would be nice if you can really submit a case study, because then it looks everything pretty abstract and theoretical. So we would be able to really evaluate and value what kind of value you could have really added to the customer.
So for Bajaj
Thank
Finserv, we did submit a case study as a part of the documentation for a legacy modernization case study. But I'll submit another case study to the algorithm.
Thank you.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you. Pretty good work.
Thank you, sir.
Keep it up.
Uday would request you to please copy the link in the chat box. It's a link of a self-assessment. Please do copy the link. Jurors, please enter